Good evening, everybody. Whoops. Good evening and welcome to Saturday night. And I thought this evening that I would do a little poetry this evening. I haven't had a lot going on in my day. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you. I've got some lights on, but I'm not sure how effective they are. So I've got to play around with them. So anyway, today I haven't had a lot going on in my day, so I thought I would choose poetry as a theme for tonight, just for something different to do. I don't know whether any of you have favourite pieces of poetry, but I have a whole repertoire. Hi, Carl. A whole repertoire of poetry. Bearing in mind I was a primary school teacher and a nursery school teacher, I have a lot of favourites in amongst those. Excuse me, let me just sit here. You love a good poem, Karen. Well, I'm hoping that some of you are going to share your favourite poems with us tonight, and but I just thought I would share some of mine. And the first one that I want to read to you is a Pam Ayres one. And I'm sure lots of you are familiar with Pam Ayres. And one of her most famous ones, I think, is I Wish I'd Looked After My Teeth. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, everybody coming in. It's a poetry evening here tonight. And so I'm going to crack straight on with this one. Oh, I wish I'd looked after my teeth and spotted the dangers beneath. All the toffees I chewed and the sweet sticky food, oh, I wish I'd looked after my teeth. I wish I'd been that much more willing, when I had more tooth than there than filling, to give up gobstoppers from respect to me choppers and to buy something else with me shilling. When I think of the lollies I licked and the licorice all sorts I picked, sherbet dabs big and little, all that hard peanut brittle, my conscience gets horribly pricked. My mother, she told me no end, if you got a tooth, you got a friend. I was young then and careless, my toothbrush was hairless, I never had much time to spend. Oh, I showed them the toothpaste all right, I flashed it about late at night, but up and down brushing and poking and fussing didn't seem worth the time I could bite. If I'd known I was paving the way to cavities, caps and decay, the murder of fillings, injections and drillings, I'd have thrown all me sherbet away. So I lie in the old dentist's chair and I gaze up his nose in despair, and his drill it do whine in those molars of mine, to amalgam he'll say for in there. How I laughed at my mother's false teeth as they foamed in the waters beneath. But now comes the reckoning, it's me they are beckoning. Oh, I wish I'd looked after my teeth. And that's taken from the works, the Classic Collection 2008 from Pam Ayres. Hi, everybody who's coming in. Dawn, Sandra, everybody coming in there. We're having a little evening of poetry. I thought, I hadn't had much to illustrate from my day today. My day, I spent it in Iceland collecting for the autism directory, so another day of collecting there. Met some nice people, but not many instances to relate, so I was there all day, and I thought, well, let's go for a different theme tonight. So I thought I'd choose some of my favourite poems. Now this next one is one I learnt when I was at school myself. And when I go up and down to London, sometimes I do this one on social media just to pass the time of day and to make it interesting. I actually say this poem while I'm actually live streaming out of the window as the train is dashing from Portsmouth to London. And it is from a railway carriage by Robert Louis Stevenson. Faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troops in a battle, all through the meadows the horses and cattle, all of the sights of the hill and the plain, fly as thick as driving rain, and ever again in the wink of an eye, painted stations whistle by. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles, all by himself and gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and there is the green for stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away in the road, lumping along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. Hi, Ruth. Lots of people coming in. So that was one, as I say, I learned that when I was at school myself. Lots of the repertoire that I have, not necessarily all of them that I'm going to do tonight, were ones that I actually told to children during my teaching career. And there's just so many lovely ones. And I just didn't quite know which to choose, but I hope you like my selection tonight. Hi, Lisa. And if any of you've got favourite poems, pop them in there. We can have a look and we can share. The next one was one that, it's a Hilaire Belloc one, Cautionary Tales by Hilaire Belloc. And this one is about Matilda. Let me read that. Someone came knocking at my small wee door. Someone came knocking. I'm sure. I opened the door, I listened, I looked left and right, but naught could I see. Only busy bees tapping on the wall, only from forest screech owls call. So I don't know who came knocking at all. I've forgotten who wrote that one, Karen. Do you know who wrote that poem? I do remember it from way back. But I'm going to now tell you about Matilda. Now, this is a warning, you know, Hilaire Belloc, she had cautionary tales. And this one is about Matilda, who told lies and was burned to death. So, you know, maybe, you know, you ought to tell lies, you have to be, you know, telling the truth. But I used to love telling this one to the children. And I told it to children, you know, I didn't, it wasn't scary. They were older children and they thought it was, you know, they took it in the vein in which it was meant. Matilda told such dreadful lies, it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort very nearly killed her, and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once towards the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play, and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone, and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble fire brigade. Within an hour the gallant band were pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney, Downs and Bow, with courage high and hearts aglow. They galloped roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud, proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor, and took peculiar pains to souse the pictures up and down the house, until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed, and even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. It happened that a few weeks later her aunt was off to the theatre to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to hear that entertaining piece, a deprivation just and wise, to punish her for telling lies. That night a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl and throw the windows up and call to people passing in the street, the rapidly increasing heat encouraging her to obtain their confidence, but all in vain. For every time she shouted fire, they only answered little liar, and therefore when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burned. So there you are. Do not tell lies, or you might come to a sticky end like Matilda. One of your mum used to tell, yes. Right. You didn't mean to send that request. I don't know what request you sent, so don't worry about it. Anyway, so that was Matilda. Now this one, in the background here, with just there by Winnie the Pooh, I've got a picture of my dad, and this one reminds me of all sorts of fun things for my dad. Let me see. This one is a poem called, hi Jeff, a poem called When Daddy Fell into the Pond. And it's by Alfred Noyes, this one. And used to have a lot of laughs about this. And my dad actually, it reminds me because my dad had various incidents. I remember a time when he got into the shower in the house where my mum now lives. All right, don't worry about it. Oh, I didn't see that, Lisa. I didn't see you push and go live, so you're lucky. I wasn't looking. Yes, so my dad, there was an incident where he got into the shower. I think I've told this story before, and he slipped and he grabbed the curtains and the curtains came down and the water went everywhere and it was all just a total mess. He was all right. He lived to tell the tale. My dad seemed to be like a cat with 9 lives, and he did all sorts of strange things and survived to tell the tale. And I do remember that one, and it reminds me a bit of this. That was when he was falling in the shower. But this one is when Daddy fell into the pond. Everyone grumbled the sky was grey. We had nothing to do and nothing to say. We were nearing the end of a dismal day, and then there seemed to be nothing beyond. Then Daddy fell into the pond, and everyone's face grew merry and bright, and Timothy danced for sheer delight. Give me the camera, quick, oh quick, he's crawling out of the duckweed click. Then the gardener suddenly slapped his knee and doubled up shaking silently, and the ducks all quacked as if they were daft, and it sounded as if the old drake laughed. Oh, there wasn't a thing that didn't respond when Daddy fell into the pond. So my dad, I don't know that he ever actually fell into a pond, but he fell in the shower and brought the shower curtains down and the water went everywhere. You know, once we knew he was all right, we laughed. And there was the time when, I know I told this incident recently, when I was talking to my mum, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I'll have to look that one up, Gil. I don't know that one. I might know it, but I don't remember it straight away. But there was the incident when my dad didn't fall into the pond, but he fell through the garage roof. I was chatting to my mum, and I knew my dad had gone out on the garage roof. We got a lot of creepers coming up all over the garage roof, and he needed to clear it all off and get rid of it. And there was this almighty thud, and my mum said, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's Dad falling through the garage roof." And she went as white as a sheet. She needed more medical aid than he did. He was fine, because actually, as he went through the roof, we had a mini car, and he landed on the roof, and he landed with his legs one each side of the aerial. He was fine. It was, you know, he didn't do actually any much injury. He was fine. As I say, my dad seemed to have about 9 lives, like a cat. And it was Mum who needed more medical advice. But you know, he didn't fall into the pond. He fell through the roof. Anyway, there's this one. This one is this is a Dr. Seuss one. I love Dr. Seuss. Hi, Chris. And I'm always quoting from Dr. Seuss. Lots of the just some of the quotations, not usually the whole poem, but some of the quotations. Dr. Seuss and Winnie the Pooh, some of the favourite ones I like to quote from. But this is "Oh, the Places You'll Go," and this is from Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the one who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you'll say, "I don't wish to go there." With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down a not so good street, and you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there things happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. And so that's good old Dr. Seuss. And a final one, I'm not going to do loads and loads, but a final one here is one that I've only just discovered today, but actually it's quite appropriate. You know, I've sort of been banging on a lot about not worrying about what other people say, being very positive and all that sort of thing. And this poem is called Unique, and it's by Abimbola T. Alabi. And I just thought it was quite appropriate. So, as I say, just discovered this one today. It says, "Because I know who I am, I'm at ease and free. I can't be like others, and they can't be me. I've got fading scars and an unusual physique, but it all works together to make me unique. I've got hidden strengths, some obvious flaws. Still, I am who I am, for better, for worse. I don't have to blend in. I won't live a lie. I can't please everyone. I won't even try. Some call me proud, others stare at me in alarm, but I'm not one to bother because I know who I am. So there we are, a little bit of poetry reading tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. I will look up that one, Gil, and see the Raven. Anybody else got any particular ones they like? Ones that remind them of particular people, or favourite ones from school days? I used to do loads and loads of finger rhymes. Because I was a nursery school teacher, I had a whole repertoire of finger rhymes, and used to do all sorts of things like here we are, I'll do one for you. Up the tall white candlestick crept little Mousy Brown, right up to the top, but he couldn't get down. So he called to his grandma, "Grandma, Grandma," but Grandma was in town. So he rolled himself into a ball and rolled himself right down. And then I used to go into a whole repertoire of roly-poly things and all sorts of things. I used to have tremendous fun with my pupils. I ran a nursery school for 21 years and had loads and loads and loads of poetry at my fingertips. So do let me know what your sorts of favourite poems are, and what's everybody been up to today. As I say, I've done bucket collecting. Well, I didn't collect buckets. I had a bucket and I was collecting money for the Autism Directory today. Knock by Frederick Bourne. I shall look these ones up. Let's okay. I will look them up, Gil, and see, because it's always good to learn new things and new pieces of poetry, all sorts of things. I was looking up, and I will do it another day, Joyce Grenville. I don't know if any of you know Joyce Grenville, but she was hilarious. She did a lot of monologues, and she did a lot of monologues in the nursery school. She did the nativity scene in the nursery school, and she did all sorts of other things from the nursery school, and it was just so hilarious. Maybe I found it particularly hilarious because I was a nursery school teacher. I got a book somewhere of her monologues, and it's entitled "George, Don't Do That," and it was really very, very funny. Right, so right, you've been geocaching and getting the dog covered in mud. Did he fall into the pond? Maybe not. Maybe he didn't fall in the pond, but just found an awful lot of mud. It was a bit wet today, wasn't it? I didn't get too wet. I was inside. As I say, I was inside Iceland most of the time. I just nipped out to have my lunch, and I went just next door to Kiva's, one of my favourite cafes, which is actually right next door to Iceland. So at lunchtime I went in there, had my lunch, and had a warm-up, because of course I'm in Iceland and I'm near the door, and of course the door keeps opening, so I got a bit chilly, so I went and had a nice warm-up with lovely dinner in Kiva's, and then went back, and so it didn't really get wet. And I've got one of those wonderful glamorous plastic mats that's like a big plastic bag, but I tell you what, it really keeps you dry. It might not be a fashion statement, or maybe it is a fashion statement, I don't know. But it certainly kept me dry. And then had a lovely catch up with Lisa and a cup of tea, and then I went on my merry way and came home. Now I was a little bit I set an alarm because I was quite sleepy when I got home, and I thought, if I don't set the alarm, I might not be awake at 10 o'clock to come live on broadcast, and then you might all think, where had I gone? What happened to me? Had I died or whatever? So I was determined to come on broadcast. So I set the alarm, but actually I didn't fall asleep. But I think I won't be too long before I do do turn in tonight, and I'm going to I've promised myself a lovely long lie-in tomorrow, because I don't have to get up and be anywhere by a particular time tomorrow. So I'm going to do my long lie-in session and get refreshed and recharged for another busy week. I don't know what everybody else has got coming up. Mine is not quite as manic as it has been in the past couple of weeks, but I know that I will be networking. I will be talking to people about White Buzz. I had a chat with Moira, who's just joining the White Buzz group the other day. I will be out and about promoting my greetings card. So if anybody needs to send a greeting card to anybody and you suddenly remembered it's somebody's birthday, you don't have to go out to the shops. Sorry, I'm going to do a little commercial here because I can. You don't have to go out to the shops. You just have to go here. Let me show you. And it's brilliant because these cards are print on demand with allsendcards.com/c/1. So if you, you know, I mean, I've got birthdays coming up. In fact, one of my family birthdays is this week, and my card is already organised for that. Don't forget, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. We've got Mother's Day. I've got my daughter's birthday next month, my granddaughter's birthday next month. And what I do is I just go on there, find the cards, personalise them, and we can even put personalisation on the front of the card now. Loads and loads and loads of cards to choose from. And you can put that, and you can personalise inside. So I put photographs inside that are appropriate, and then on the left hand side inside, and on the right hand side you can put lovely greetings. You can use different colours, you can do all sorts. You know, if you do need greetings cards, do pop onto that site. Oh, I've put it in, but I didn't push the button. There we go. And you know, you don't even have to go to the shops. You don't have to go to the post office to buy stamps. It's all there. It's my, oh, I've done it wrong. Sorry, let me do it again. It's not come up as, I put a wrong letter. Oh dear, hopeless, aren't I? Right, but also any budding artists out there, there we are, there's a live link now. So do go have a look over there. We got loads. Oh, we got so many new artists come on board, so many designers. And basically, if you wanted a particular design and you don't see it there, you can actually ask for somebody to design it, because that's what's happening. People were saying the other day, oh, we want more Valentine's cards. So the creators and the designers were creating more Valentine's cards. They're now creating a big section for children, you know, section for children's cards. It's just great, and you know, it's a little business I run that's growing and growing and growing. You know, like Topsy, it can grow and grow and grow. Don't know if you know that. And mighty oaks from little acorns grow anyway. So I haven't been very good about promoting it, but every now and again I just drop it in, and it would be nice if you go and have a look and support some of the artists there. Some of those artists that are designers there are actually from the Isle of Wight. Some of them across the UK. Oh, look, there's Marilyn. She is one of the designers. Look, she's busy designing one for a friend of Paul's. There you are, you see. Look, she's just endorsing what I said, where, you know, Paul is the person who introduced me to the business, and obviously a friend of his wants a particular card and has requested it. And Marilyn, being one of the designers, she is now designing a card specifically for that friend. Obviously it will, you know, other people will be able to order that as well, but it's just such a lovely business. When did you join, Marilyn? I can't remember. I know you joined not long before me. I've been in the business since October. Hi Hannah. Oh, Paul wants to send it to her. Sorry. So Paul asked you to design it, and it's for a particular friend. So obviously he's given you a brief on that. So that's interesting. I mean, I've been watching I've been busy, but of course I've been watching, and I'm struggling to keep up with all the new designs that are coming in. But every now and again I pop on there and I have a look and see. And then I chose one of my brothers has got a birthday next week, so I've chosen a card from him. For him, and that's sort of winging its way. And as I say, I've got my daughter's birthday and my granddaughter's birthday coming up. What's so nice too, folks, is you don't have to just do it just before their birthday. What you can do, and this is what I did for my brother, I ordered it last week and gave a date. Night Lisa, gave a date when I wanted it sent. And so you can, you know, beginning of October. Yes, I was at the end of October, Marilyn. Yes, so you can actually you can order your cards long in advance, and then leave it for the system to actually send them out at the time. And I just love the idea that if I suddenly remember it's somebody's birthday, I don't have to go out. I don't have a car, and I would have to get a bus into town, and so it saves me having to go into town. It saves me having to go to the post office, you know, all that. I can just click on. I can do it in the middle of the night. I'm often awake in the middle of the night, so I can do it in the middle of the night. And you can't suddenly go to a shop in the middle of the night. Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes some of the big supermarkets are open overnight, but you know, shop local, shop with the designers and the creators, you know, that we have in We All Send Cards. It's a brilliant business. It's also a business that you can start to earn an income if you want to, either by referring people, or if you're an artist yourself, then you can actually be a creator and have your designs put onto cards, and it doesn't cost you anything. That's even better. So you know, that's my little advert there for the We All Send Cards. And so I'm not going to stay a long time. Tonight I need to get, you know, get a reasonably early night, or certainly start needing to chill and wind down. But I just thought I'd pop on and just do that little bit of poetry. Marilyn writes poetry that goes in the cards, don't you, Marilyn? So some of the designers do poetry. Most of the cards are the cards are blank inside, but some of them have poetry on the outside if you want it. So you know, it's just and it's such a lovely business. I've met so many lovely people. We haven't actually met in person, but we got a lovely group of people involved with the business, and we chat and get to know each other. So that's really nice. So anyway, anybody got any more favourite poems they want me to look up for another time? If not, I'm going to, you know, keep the broadcast fairly short tonight so that I can get some sleep. And anything else, any subjects, I do. That's what Paul wants, is a nice poem. Excellent. So a particular, obviously a particular poem for a particular friend. So that's great. And you know, it was nice that Marilyn hopped in here to endorse it. As I said, you know, about what a great business it is, she was able to endorse that. So anything else anybody wants to chat about? Otherwise, I'm going to wind down tonight. I have got lights on tonight. Did you notice? Does it look okay? Because my son gave me lights to light me for the broadcast for Christmas, and I didn't have enough batteries, but today I got batteries, so I've got a light on either side. Don't know if it makes a difference. Does it look better or not? I have to fiddle about with these things. Yes, it is a brilliant business, Marilyn, and I know you've sold quite a lot of your cards. I know that we've also several of us have bought cards from Mo's Designs. Mo, who lives on the Isle of Wight, has photographed the robins and the squirrels on the Isle of Wight. We also have Suzanne, who's if you click on, she's Susie, and she does the wonky doodle designs, and she's got some of the Isle of Wight scenes on her cards, and they're quite quirky. I love those. And in fact, today, when I was having a cup of tea with Lisa, I was in the Yoss Hotel, and I noticed a clock on the wall, and I thought, oh, that's a familiar design. That's Susie's design of looking down Union Street, and it was on a clock. It was on a clock. You know, we've got it on a greetings card, but it was on a clock too. And so that was, I just happened to spot it behind in the reception, and it was a clock that people it was there for sale, but obviously it was telling us the time too. So anyway, I am going to love you and leave you now. As I say, a fairly short broadcast tonight. I will be back on again tomorrow night, having refreshed and recharged. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. I think it's going to be quite a relaxing day. Might depend on the weather. I may go down to the seafront and do some live streaming. I may stay home and do some tidying of my flat, which desperately needs it. You know, my tidy fairy has done a bunk. She went on holiday and she hasn't come back, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work in her absence. So it does look good, does it? That's fine, because I you know, I had, when I'd only got batteries in one, it didn't look good. You know, I had to get the other batteries. So today I remembered to get the other batteries, and I put it out, but you know, it was a bit difficult to tell what it looked like. But you know, if you say it's fine, that's good. Okay, folks, night night. See you all tomorrow. Bye for now.